I've had a few questions asked about rosining the bow and how much rosin it takes and about how much to rosin your bow on the first time you rosin it. And it just so happens I just got both of my bows rehaired, so I thought before I put rosin on my second bow, I would let you take a look at it and try to show you some stuff. Okay, so here's my two bows. I hope you can see the difference in the hair color of the two. Well, I know you can see a difference. And basically, I've already rosined this bow here. And so its hair is a lot whiter and more dull in color. I can't get the light to catch this one just right, but if you can get it in sunlight, you can see that it's kind of glistening and it's kind of off-white and shiny, whereas this is bright white and kind of dull and chalky looking. And that's an important clue, because after you're playing on your bow for a while, that's a big clue that you need rosin. When you start to get that glistening, shiny look again, then you know it's time to rosin again for sure. Now I want to show you how the bow that has not yet been rosined, how it won't be able to even play any sounds. It's really, really slippery. So let's rosin it up. And of course, the first time you rosin a new rehair or a brand new bow, it takes a lot of rosin. You won't ever put this much on it again, most likely. So I start down at the frog and I cover the ferrule, that metal thing, with my thumb so that I don't, so I don't chip my rosin on the metal. Instead, I let it run straight into my thumb. That way I can get rosin right down to the ferrule without ruining my rosin. And I really scrub it. I like to work it down in there, just in that little spot. And I make little circles just to work it right down to the ferrule. And then I do the tip the same way. Lots and lots and lots of rosin. I start with the ends because they take a little bit of scrubbing, and then I can do the rest of the bow with long strokes. Now, how often should you rehair your bow? That's really subjective. Professional classical musicians, they'll get their bow rehaired 3 times a year, and they're playing 6 to 8 hours a day. And I've been at that point before where I'm rehairing my bow about every 4 months. Now I don't play full time anymore, so I can get by with twice a year. And I've even stretched it up to a year of no rehairs. And it just depends on how many hairs you break and how much playing you're doing. And how do you know when you need a rehair? Well, if you're missing a lot of hair so that you have an edge here on your ferrule, so that it's chipping your violin or something, or just if you're missing hair and you can visibly see that you're missing it, it's time for a rehair. If you don't break any hair, you can tell if you need a new rehair when it doesn't hold rosin very well, and you find that you're doing a ton of rosin and it still kind of feels slick or it looks shiny, then your hair is worn out and you need a new rehair. So what I'm doing is I'm scrubbing about a 5-inch section and getting it nice and white. Then I move to a new 5-inch section. Doesn't matter how you hold the bow. Just hold it any which way you can get good resistance. And, little tip for you, if you rotate your rosin as you're rosining, it won't get that groove in it and you'll wear it down completely flat and even. You know the groove that people get and then they can't use the other half of their rosin? This will prevent that groove from happening if you just keep rotating. It's a little bit tricky. Now, while I'm finishing this, I want to tell you what happened to this bow. I do not use this bow a lot, and it sits in a dark case, and it was a yard sale special. And I got it out of the case, and a ton of my hairs had broken. And I'm a player that does not break a lot of hairs. That's why I can go a year without rehairing my bow. And my bow rehair guy asked me if I wanted a coarser hair because I had broken so many hairs. And I told him I have no idea how that happened. I just opened up the case and there was a ton of broken hairs. He told me I had bugs. It was probably bugs that were chewing through my horsehair. And I've heard of that, but I would never have happened to me. And he said, do you use that bow a lot, or does it sit in your case a lot? And I said, yeah, it sits in my case a lot. He said, open up the case, let it sit in bright sunlight for several hours. That'll get rid of the bugs, and you should be fine. So that's what I did. So if you mysteriously have a bunch of horsehair showing up broken, you might have a bow bug. Weirdest thing ever. Okay, so I'm really putting a lot of rosin on, and this horsehair is kind of resistant. It's not taking to the rosin like most horsehair I'm used to, but it's different every time. Okay, and then I do a couple of long swipes just to blend all my scrubbing. My rosin is evenly worn. Okay, and then I loosen the hair. And I just kind of smack it on my open palm just to kind of distribute the horsehair and to shake out the really loose dust. And then, of course, when I first play on this, it's going to leave a big crusty deposit on my strings that I have to scrape off. Make sure you wipe your violin off, because if you leave rosin dust on your violin, it will adhere chemically to your varnish, and it's pretty detrimental to it. I know it looks cool, but I wouldn't do it. Okay, let's hear how it sounds. Sounds good. All right, that's it. I hope this answered a few of your questions, and I'll see you next time.